Hello, Internet. Gino, that Pinguino Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. A chugga 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 choo choo. We are on the Paine train, which means I am here with my co-conductor, Chris ZombiePie Redacted. Hello.
Oh, God damn it, Gino. Fuck me. Jesus Christ,
No,
Gino.
thank you. No, thank you.
I want to say that Chapter 5 of Final Fantasy X-2 wasn't as bad as you made it seem like, but I still think it may have been one of the most exhausting, emotionally draining video game things I've played in a good long time. God.
Yes,
this goddamn game is the Paine Train comparison is apt because this game hits you like a freight train and then just combusts on your body.
In your soul, hits you in your body, and then blows up in your soul.
That just... I feel broken inside. I don't know how you feel when you finished Final Fantasy X-2, but I feel broken, disappointed, and just drained. I
felt mad because I had been carrying around a few gigabytes of this game on my memory card, and I was on a trip when I had this game, and that meant I didn't have easy access to internet to put other games onto my Vita. So when I finished this game, I was angry because the space on that memory card that was occupied by Final Fantasy X-2 could have been occupied by another better game for that entire duration. And instead, I was left with several empty gigs after I deleted it immediately upon finishing it. It's not a good game.
Something we need to discuss, and we'll discuss this at the end, is the HD remaster worth it if 60% of it is complete trash and the HD textures and resolution are problematic at best? We'll talk about this later, but
yes. Certainly. We will certainly talk about this later. But now it is time for feedback and emails. And if you want to get in touch with the show, you can do so at Deep Listens Pod on Twitter, or at That Pinguino on Twitter, or deeplistens.libsyn.com, or deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. And you could sound something like this. This comes from superfan Kyle, who says, if we're just ruining Gino's day with food-based sadness, I've got something to fuel the rival Paine train. A long while ago, I recall ZP saying that he put ketchup on rice. I don't know what kind of rice he uses, but I've put ketchup on brown rice before, and it's a solid combo. Ranch is bad, though. Can't follow you down that road, ZP. Quick question. With the Final Fantasy games being the only JRPGs ZP has played, what does ZP think JRPGs are as a genre? Does he like them? Does he intend to try others? What does his ideal JRPG look like? We'll have this fight in 10 years when we get to it, but I still think Final Fantasy 15 is one of the better FF games overall. I'd like to hear what Gino knows that makes him dislike it so much, or if it's a fear that it follows the dark path that FF has gone down since 13.
So, first part to that question is ketchup and rice. Welcome to the team. Proud to welcome you to the Team Ketchup Brotherhood. More power to you. I don't know why you have to slam me for ranch, but I'll take Team Ketchup. Hashtag Team Ketchup.
Don't hashtag that. Ignore this man's hashtag demands.
Second question, what are my impressions of JRPG? I guess like the whole purpose of this, and actually the piece of input that I have to read kind of ducktails into this as well. Like Arbitrary Water sent me something that's like, you realize the whole thing about you playing Final Fantasy in the first place was because you weren't super well versed in JRPGs? Don't you think that it's like, this is his comment continued, don't you think you should take a break from Final Fantasy and try different less bullshit JRPGs from like the PlayStation 1 or 2 era, so is that you have a better idea of what Square's competition was doing at the same time in the development of the franchise or development of the genre? And that's totally valid. I feel like I'm only getting one piece of the pie, and it's a very small piece, but important piece at that. Personally, and I know that Gino believes in the complete opposite, but that's why I love you so much, Gino. I still believe that the computer role-playing, Western role-playing game format is vastly superior to the format of JRPGs. I prefer open worlds versus kind of the structure of the overworld. I think that the combat systems from whether it be SSI or Dark Isle or the Baldur's Gate franchise, whether it's in the vein of BioWare, classic BioWare, or even stuff from the wheelhouse of Bethesda during their glory days. I've always found the open world structure to be more empowering and enriching. It leads to greater examples of world building, and I just prefer the combat to computer role playing games to this day. I would argue that computer role playing games definitely have their share of tropes, but let's be honest. All of these Final Fantasy games have these bullshit plot twists and pivots when computer role-playing games have been doing that as well. And computer role-playing games have been doing them far better than anything that Square Enix has done, ever. Ever. Baldur's Gate 2 Throne of Ball has probably one of the greatest plot twists in video game history. I will take no shit from anyone else who disagrees. But I still personally would argue that all of the stuff that I'm seeing in Final Fantasy X-2, the kind of transition to real-time combat, the idea of these interchangeable character classes, like computer role-playing games have been doing this for decades and better and more dynamic. And I would argue that the storytelling in computer role-playing games is far less problematic. There's not this horrible void in Baldur's Gate or the Elder Scrolls franchise or even Fallout from like Interplay that kind of plagues Final Fantasy VIII or even 9. Like there's these giant donut holes in which you got to wade through garbage. But that's just my personal preference. Just straight to the point storytelling where the mechanics are built within kind of you traversing through the environment, and there's no grinding. The grinding is you just moving from point A to point B and doing these side quests, and the side quests actually reward you with experience and points and kind of mastering your skill sets. And I know you, Gino, believe in the complete opposite. So, yeah, that's just my impression of the JRPG format. I'm still not entirely sold. I can see why people are engrossed with it because it's just such a big tent. But I like the narrow focus, both mechanically and narratively, in Western-style computer role-playing games, and have always still kind of preferred that, even as I've gone to the other side.
Yeah, I would say one day we will get around to playing a JRPG that is not a Final Fantasy game. And, I think that once we've finished all of them...
Fuck, Gino, can we please do something that's just... God damn it. God damn it.
You finish your plate.
But I want chocolate cake now.
No, you finish your vegetables, and then you get chocolate cake. You finish Final Fantasy II, and then you get
Dad,
chocolate.
I want the brownies now.
You don't.
Can I eat a Hawaiian roll instead of peas?
No. You can't even have a Hawaiian punch. It's bad for your teeth. No. One day we'll play Legend of Dragoon or Legend of Legaia or it would be great if like at some point we're like, oh, we need to try another type of JRPG, to really give more of a taste. Let's play Chrono Cross.
Oh, you fucker.
Something indicative, something that really communicates what JRPGs are, like Chrono Cross. No, we'll eventually get to something outside of Final Fantasy. I'm not saying we actually have to play every single Final Fantasy before we try something else, but we'll eventually do something else.
It's like every time we reach about this November point, like I felt this way last year when I was like starting to finish off Final Fantasy IX, and you're like, hey, let's start 10. And we're like, I think you remember this. And I was all like, man, I am so burnt out on these Final Fantasy games. Can you give me a month? And you're like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yep.
But every year when we get to about November, I just say to myself, like, man, I fucking never want to play another Final Fantasy game for the rest of my life.
Though to be
and
fair,
then around February.
Yep. You're like, hey, and then you played 10 and you're like, this is one of my favorite games ever. And then you played 10-2 and it was like making you smoke a carton of cigarettes in order to get you off that wacky tobacco. Yeah, Final Fantasy X-2 is not a good game. But
what's the second part? Oh, your hatred of Final Fantasy 15.
My suspicion of Final Fantasy 15 is that I don't trust any game that tells me I need to go watch an outside anime movie. Or I think there's both an anime and
a movie.
And
a CGI movie, because the last time they made a CGI movie, it went real well for Square.
Yeah. So any piece of fiction that tells me in order to get the full story, I need to participate in multiple other forms of fiction that are franchise tie-ins, I am immediately suspect of. I'm also immediately suspect of any Final Fantasy game that claims to have some sort of action-based combat, because every time they've ever done action-based combat, it has been bad. So maybe I'll be convinced that the combat is better, but I don't like Kingdom Hearts. Like playing Kingdom Hearts. I like Kingdom Hearts as an idea. You liked
Kingdom Hearts when you were younger. So when did the maturity kick in?
When I played it again for this show. And then I realized that Kingdom Hearts has a bad combat system. Like, it's floaty and the controls are not great, and seeing the numbers go up is not enough for me. It's just really shallow, and I actually like the pause and turn-based systems that you hate so much, and the active time battle systems. I like those.
So fucking kludgy. It's the kludgiest combat mechanic in
I hate
any RPG game.
I hate CRPG. Just click on a dude, and then your dude's going to wail on them for a while, and then sometimes you'll hit a number key. I don't.
But you said you liked Fallout. Like, that's also kind of a clicky, shoot them in the face till they're dead.
I don't think the combat's good in Fallout.
Oh, I completely disagree.
Fallout 3. I don't think the combat's great, but that's kind of besides the point. My suspicion of 15 is that I haven't trusted them to do a competent story in just about 10 years. 13 was bad, I felt, and 15 seemed like a lot. I mean, it was a game that was supposed to literally be a tie-in game to 13, so I have very little faith.
The whole point to 15 was that they de-emphasized the story and emphasized the fluidity of the combat. So
that doesn't actually help
your
me.
objection? What is your objection for a combat-focused Final Fantasy game versus a story-focused game?
I don't want a combat-focused Final Fantasy game. To me, the story is almost everything I play these games for. So if
90% of these games that you've made me play are bullshit, or at least have a significant amount of bullshittery to the story. So for me, a Final Fantasy game that says, you know what, how about we actually just try something very simple, and here's this kind of interesting combat mechanic for you to wrap your mind around. Sounds kind of appealing.
Yeah, but that's not... I don't trust that it's just going to be that simple. A simple combat, pretty Final Fantasy game holds nothing for me. I want to have, even as problematic as some of the stories can be, as big as some of the plot holes can be, and as flawed as some of the storytelling can be, I enjoy the schlock of some of them, and I enjoy the moments that are good in some of them, because they try. Whereas 15 apparently has, like, gigantic plot holes that they ask you to fill in by watching multi-hour movies. And I just can't. No, thank you. No, thank you to that. So we have other questions. This is an addendum from Superfan Kyle, and he says, consider this an addendum to the other comment, since I'm seemingly incapable of remembering everything I mean to write in one go. By the time you read this, you will have gotten 5 very different experiences, all called Final Fantasy, under your belts. So what do you think the merits and demerits are of having a series that offers such diverse types of gameplay, stories, genres, and aesthetics? Having some familiar elements that I enjoy, such as monster design, but without knowing what the next entity will bring is perhaps my favorite part of Final Fantasy as someone who primarily values exploration and discovery in games. On the other hand, I find that it's easy to get bummed out if the next game ends up not being what I wanted. This is also a maturity issue, but that aspect is probably also what creates some toxicity in the segments of the Final Fantasy fan base. Due to being split across so many different great games, is there a point at which these games would be better off dropping the Final Fantasy name and start being individual games? Though that would never happen for business reasons, even if they continue to share things like designs. Curious what you guys think. Thank you, Kyle, once again.
So this is actually a conversation you and I had when we started the Final Fantasy VII series on Steam Chat, is when I openly question, like, Final Fantasy is not a franchise. Final Fantasy is a series of games that Square Enix puts a lot of money and budget and time into and then slaps the Final Fantasy name on so as that they can generate massive profits for their most costly productions. I think playing 10 and 10-2 have kind of solidified that belief to me. At one token, it is liberating to see a company try new ideas with each iteration. But now that so many of the people who made Final Fantasy Special have been removed from the Final Fantasy franchise, it feels very empty, and it seems like the spirit is completely absent in these games. So what are you actually getting when you play a game that has the Final Fantasy name? I mean, I think this is something Jeff from the Giant Bombcast has talked about, is like Final Fantasy 15. What does that 15 actually mean? What does 14 actually mean? 13, 12? What does this add to this entire franchise? And the answer is nothing. There are interesting ideas in each game, but there's no connective tissue other than these tropes, other than these monster designs, other than these very skilled individuals. Like say what you will about Tetsuya Nomura and anyone who's still a part of the main Square Enix crew. They're very skilled programmers and designers, but I honestly believe they just plan shit out. It's like, oh, hey, this is the game we're putting the most amount of money and time into. Might as well slap the Final Fantasy name on it so as that we can make our money back. And that's it. This is a questionable franchise and series at best. And when the series can't even have basic key gameplay ideas remain consistent from game to game, what does the actual Final Fantasy name mean? Because it's not the characters, it's not the story, it's not a continuous universe, and it's not even the game, nor the gameplay, nor the mechanics.
Yeah, so my stance on this is that what does franchise mean is, I think, the question. What do you have to have in order for a franchise to be cohesive? Because the games share a bunch of enemy designs, share certain tropes like SIDS, chocobos, Moogles. There are creatures that show up and names that show up that adapt over time. You've got generally some sort of crystal that we care about, some MacGuffin. But otherwise, you're right. Like, there are some designs, like the job system, that have kind of come and gone. There are active time battle elements that have come and gone. There are all sorts of just kind of through lines, design-wise, in the combat systems and in the worlds. But otherwise, these games have very little connective tissue. And I would say that what they have that ties them all together, other than those things, because I think those things, you're discounting them like they don't matter, but there are very few series that actually tie together in that way. You know, any more than like a monster, like a Dragon Warrior. Like, those games are also all very different, but they share the same creatures and they share the same central designs that are the same. So I think that those totally, tie the thing together to be a franchise, but I think that there is just a design aesthetic that these games have that ties them together. They tend to be these games about a little group of people going to explore a wide world to solve a large problem. And circumstances of those things tend to be different, but these games tend to be about really earnest, really Japanese stories that kind of come together and become more than the sum of their parts. And I don't know if that means that, since they're all different, they're not a franchise, but it really just makes me think, I think that you have to change what your definition of a franchise is, because yes, they don't occupy the same universe in the way that like a Mass Effect Andromeda, or a Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, yeah, they're not all in the same universe, but they've got more connective tissue than something like, what are two games in the same genre by the same company? A Call of Duty and what is the shooter that
Far Cry.
Infinity? Yeah.
Oh, no.
No.
X what? Infinity Ward?
Infinity Ward people. They made
Titanfall.
But Titanfall, was that published by Activision? Or was Destiny published by Activision? But all these shooters, all these shooters made by very similar companies, like, you wouldn't confuse them for being in the same universe, even though they all have way more mechanical overlap than the Final Fantasy games do in some cases, because there's a central design aesthetic that pulls them all together, in spite of the fact that there are huge character and world changes from game to game. And I would say there are games that, when the games, like specifically 9, references all the games that came before it. So when you get those interplays between the games, then it's, I think, even more so an example of the fact that this is a franchise. What you get is kind of a stamp of quality. Or that's what it was supposed to mean. Fucking 13, man.
Yeah, so even your stance regarding like, oh, it's a stamp of quality. It's you have a figurehead. Like, sure, I guess that makes sense. It's like it's a franchise defined by a figurehead, and I guess that is true, regardless if you like the current figurehead of Final Fantasy versus the previous one. But it's a game series where you can clearly see the influence of whoever is the director in charge.
Yeah. And I think that counts for something, the continuity between teams and the continuity of visions. Now, it's not as cohesive as like the Star Wars franchise or something like that, but I don't think it needs to be these
cohesive
contiguous
in
stories.
Quotations.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think you need the stories to all be contiguous for them to count as a franchise. So, we have one more comment, actually, from D, and this was on our Hotiful Boyfriend episode.
Yeah.
And D says, regarding the games you're criticizing, I think he's talking to you, ZP, where you don't make any choices, kinetic novels.
Oh, God.
You're painting them with too broad a brush. Click to see the story. What's wrong with a good story accompanied by voice acting, music, and visuals? Ever heard of Higurashi no Naku Koro ni?
Ew.
Umineko no Naku Koro ni?
I like the anime for that.
Narcissu, sure. Planetarian,
hate that
Fenomeno, one. Fault Milestone 1-2, World End Economica.
Yeah,
You've spent the whole episode basically telling your friend not to write off an entire genre without ever experiencing it, and then turn around and do the same thing to a genre you've never even experienced. And let's be honest, a ton of visual novels, including Stein's Gate, which you seem to like a lot, are basically just kinetic novels that give you the choice of which ending you want. I love Stein's Gate. I bought the Jost Collector's Edition, and then bought it again when it came out on Steam. But think about it. Except for the golden ending, you only get like 5 actual decision points across the entire 20-hour game. That's basically 1 click per 4 hours that separate it from being a kinetic novel. All right, what do you have to say to D?
What do I have to say to D? D, you're proving my point that this genre needs to evolve. It needs to adapt or die, because it's already very clear to everyone, even in the joke, in the know, that when you buy a visual novel, buy a kinetic novel, you know exactly what you're signing up for. You know exactly how it's going to play. You know exactly what it's going to do to you. Either A, the story's really good, so you ignore how contrived the gameplay is, or B, the story is terrible and you regret purchasing the game in the first place. So this entire genre needs to adapt. It needs to change. This genre is problematic. So it really comes down to, did you like the story? I like the story to Steins Gate. I think that Gracia is bad. World Economica is okay. Higurashi is a bunch of bullshit. And if we're being perfectly honest, for every single game that D mentioned, you're better off just watching the anime adaptation.
Yeah, that's the thing.
How
what's the difference?
Fucked up is that, to where the anime adaptation is probably the best way to consume these experiences, where they cut out all that bullshit, all of the collecting the sparkly orbs and making the 5 choices in the game possible. Like, how shitty is it that just watching the 20 to 16 episodes of the anime is a better experience than actually playing the original game?
So I have a question. When you say collect the sparkly orbs, are there just still images that have orbs in the background somewhere, and then you click on them? That's it?
Yep.
That's the gameplay?
That's for some of them.
For some
That's
of them.
like
is there
the
gameplay
whole point
for all
of
of them?
Clannad, where you have to collect the sparkly orbs, only to find out that, well, surprise, surprise, the game says, the ending of the game where you die, guess what? We're going to set you back into the past so that you can play the game all over again. And now this time, you have the hope of not dying.
Because you collected more orbs?
You collected more orbs. You can get your happy ending.
That sounds bad.
That sounds really bad.
Why don't they just write it so that it's the good version of the game with the best story, and then drop with this pretense that it's a game? Why don't they just write it like it's a... I mean, I guess, is a choose-your-own-adventure book a game?
Basically.
Is it a game?
Yeah.
Is a choose-your-own-adventure book a game? Because if it's a game, then yes, all of these visual novels are games because you choose your own adventure, and that's kind of it.
And the only reason why I include visual novels as games in quotation is because they share a lineage with like text adventures or text novels, interactive fiction like Zork and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which those are definitively games. So why discount visual novels? Is it a matter of how many choices you make in the game? Because I feel like that's a very tenuous platform to be on. It's a shaky platform to equivocate that, no, you need to have like 16 decisions, not 4 or 5.
No, from me, the definition is, do you make decisions? Like, say, for example, in a piece of garbage that you made me play called Nekopara, you don't make any decisions. It is just watch this thing happen. In which case, you're just basically looking at a flip book, and it has all the fidelity of a flip book. The game will play itself.
Full boyfriend.
That is a game.
Yes! Oh, thank God. All right, Gino.
Those things have decisions. There are yes, you interact with it. The only way you interact with Nekopara is by making the boobs bounce. Yeah. That's not that. No.
You can hit the Q button, Q to make the boobies bounce.
That's all you can do in that game.
And click.
It's not a game. It's not a game.
And click.
And all the clicking does is advance the dialogue, and you can hit a thing in the options that lets it auto advance, and then you don't even have to do that. So,
Gino.
Yes.
The next bit of is there anything else you want to do or respond to, D?
No, that is the last.
You should. I know you really, really, really do not like anime. I know
I don't hate
you
it
don't
that
like
much.
anime,
I'm
but
not
I'm begging you, give Robotics Note and Steins Gate a chance. Consider. I'm telling you, man. At least watch Robotics Note because it has one of the better, more tasteful depictions of like depression, anxiety, and suicide that I've seen in any form of media.
Well,
and I find that very empowering. And all I will say, let me just say this. I've recommended Robotics Note to Rio Starwin, fellow moderator, and Arbitrary Water. And I have said to them time and time again, they can testify, get to episode 16 of Robotics Note. And they've always been like, man, this show is not that great. And then they get to episode 16 and they're like, okay, this show is probably one of the best things I've ever seen.
Okay, I feel like, one, you need to stop misrepresenting my appreciation for anime. I have appreciated anime, like Japanese shows. I speak Japanese for a reason. Like, I like some of Japanese-produced things. I just find that once you've seen enough, you realize how tropey a lot of anime production is. Just like similarly with
Water, please send an email compelling Gino to watch Robotics Note, please.
I was not done. I might watch a show that's especially good, but if someone tells me like the flavor of the month anime show is really, really good, and I know that they are a fan of anime, I generally disregard their opinion unless they make a good argument, because I know that that's just their thing. That's what they're into. So this is the newest show that they're into. Like when people said Attack on Titan is really good, I tried to watch a few episodes of Attack on Titan.
No, you should not.
And then I was like, you people just like anime a whole lot. That's fine. But this is a bad show. And you like it because this is the genre you enjoy, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I am not in on every show that is in a Japanese anime style. So this does nothing for me. This is just genre fare.
Okay.
It'd be like someone telling me that Bleach is like the greatest show they've ever seen.
Oh, God damn it.
No, it's not.
No, it is not.
That was the flavor of the month for a while, and people were like, yo, Bleach is really good. And I was like, oh, let me watch a few episodes. Why are there so many characters with names that I need to remember? Why does everyone have a backstory? There's more characters than there needs to be. Oh, God, they just keep talking.
I'm
fighting
telling
and they're
you,
talking.
Gino, okay. Here's the deal.
So I'm writing this down. Robotics Note.
Yes.
And
Steins
colon. Is that a colon
semicolon.
or a semicolon?
Both of them are semicolon.
Great.
I'm just look. Gino, I know the video cut out of this Skype conversation, but pretend you're looking me directly in the eyes. Get to episode 16 of Robotics Note.
Okay, Wait, is it Robotics semicolon Note?
Yes.
Fuck.
I'm going to turn on the video for me too. Gino, look me in the eyes. Get to episode 16. Okay?
Fuck.
Get to episode 16. Look, I have done this recommendation many a times, and every single person has come away with a super positive experience.
Okay. I'm writing this down.
But, okay, so because I brought up anime on this podcast, I'm going to allow you to bring up basketball, because I know that what we're about to discuss is probably one of the worst video game experiences that we've both had collectively outside of Nekopara and Mobius Final Fantasy. So normally we give each other, whenever it's like Gino
especially
needs
Bleak,
to get like a little bit of a morale boost.
Okay.
I give you like 10 minutes to talk about basketball. So
I'm not going to talk about basketball for 10 minutes. I'm going to do this really fast. 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo is really fun to watch. 2, Joel Embiid is healthy, and thank God he's healthy. He looks really, really good. Oh, God. 7-foot-tall people shouldn't be able to do what he does. He's legitimately 7 feet tall, not that fake. He's 6'9", but in shoes, and if he's jumping...
He's blocking shots like Dikembe.
He's blocking shots like Dikembe, and then he's hitting people with the dream shakes, and then he's shooting threes, because why not? That seems unfair, but fine.
And who cares that he doesn't have a jumper?
What are you talking about? He has a great jumper.
Yeah, it's janky.
He's shooting like 40% from three.
Janky.
What do you want?
Okay.
He's amazing. He's really good. The NBA is really fun this year. I'm sorry that your Kings are bad.
Your Knicks might actually make the playoffs this year.
Stop saying my Knicks. 2, they might make the playoffs, and Porzingis is also really good. I like all these 7-footers who have wildly disparate styles and are all good. It's great. It's great to watch.
So let me say my few things. One, why is everyone surprised that the Boston Celtics are good when they got Kyrie and that was the biggest free agent trade before trading closed? Two, I think the Cavaliers have finally recovered and they're going to be staying at this current level that they're at. Three, the Chicago Bulls are a depression factory. And four, my Kings are a fucking trash fire because they traded Boogie Cousins when they shouldn't have for pennies, and it's basically backfired on their face, and they can't play defense.
And they hired old veterans and gave instead of just saying we're going to suck for a year, they said, hey, what if we pay a bunch of people?
$8 million on Vince Carter. Why? Why would you do that?
Because 40-year-old Vince Carter needs to teach the youngins a thing or two, apparently.
And I think the Houston Rockets are the biggest threat to the Warriors.
Yep.
Bar none. They have one of the most complete centers in the game. They have a defense that can hold teams.
Wait, you think Clint Capella is one of the most complete centers in the game? And you just said Joel Embiid doesn't have a shot. And you said Clint Capella is he's very good at basketball, but he's very good at defense
Joel Embiid
and
is
at
probably
dunking.
the most complete center in the game right now.
Him and Marc Gasol are probably some of the most complete centers in the NBA.
Yeah, but Marc Gasol is in a team that's not gelling right now.
But he's really good.
This 4-game skid is really sad.
But he's really complete. But yes, and one other thing that you said, the reason why people thought the Boston Celtics might not be that good is, one, Gordon Hayward blew up his leg. That seems bad. That happened in the first game. And two, Kyrie Irving, up until this year, was playing such trash defense at almost all times that it seemed like the only change between him and Isaiah Thomas was that Kyrie's maybe a little bit better on offense, and just by virtue of not being 5'8", he would probably be better at guarding people.
Do you not like
people.
Al Horford?
I do like Al Horford. I like their whole team. But I think that the argument was, hey, they had 90% of this team last year. Why would this team be better? And the answer was Jason Tatum's way better than we thought. Jaylen Brown is actually a real NBA player too. Al Horford with Kyrie Irving actually unlocks both of them in a way that they didn't before. And getting rid of some of their other players might have been addition by subtraction.
So would you at least agree with me that the Chicago Bulls are a depression factory?
Oh, yeah, totally. Yes. Their owner doesn't pay.
Man, they had so much potential, and then they literally self-imploded within 2 games.
They sold the 38th draft pick to the Golden State Warriors for $3.5 million.
They're
the worst team in the league.
Who does not need an extra draft pick to make their bench stronger.
Yeah, yep. And that's our basketball 5 minutes. So now it is time. Remember, if you want to get in touch with the show, do so at Deep Listens Pod, deeplistens.
I'm going to warn you, Gino, in a little bit. I'm going to send you an email at some point with input on the last 2 podcasts you've recorded without me about how you have slandered my name.
How? What?
You've slandered my name on the discussion of Slime Rancher.
How?
When you answered my question, and then you slandered my name when you talked about Extra Life.
I don't remember how I slandered your name.
You talked about how I had bad tastes.
You do.
You talked about how I subjected you to bad experiences.
You have.
And I have a response for you.
Okay.
Be ready for it. Deeplistens@libsyn.com.
Yes, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can use our email like this person who can talk to me regularly does. I like it. I like that you use the email. It's great. So, without further ado, it's been a while, and now it's time to discuss the Final Fantasy X-2. The 5th chapter.
Chapter 5.
So,
Jesus Christ.
You actually streamed Chapter 5, and I gotta say, it was amazing watching you not be able to jump down. So Chapter 5, when it starts off, it's after the concert, the emotional high of the game, and then you're in Chapter 5, and it's time to wrap up all the storylines.
Countdown to depression.
And wrapping up all the
30
storylines means that every single location in Final Fantasy X-2's world is now a hot spot that you have to visit to finish. You either get a chapter complete or an episode complete.
Correct.
And if you did bad, you get an episode complete. And if you do correctly, you get a chapter complete, I think. So if you didn't do all of whatever you had to do at a given location, you get less completion percentage, and you don't get the true ending.
Who fucking cares?
Stories. No one. But just some stuff that you didn't get to see because you just tried to get to the end of the game. Actually,
yeah,
no, I don't need to say any of that because it's all garbage.
But still, man, you told me when we did the Chapter 4 podcast, oh, man, just speed through the fucking Comsphere shit because it's not worth it. And then, like, all of these side quests that I was interested in seeing were locked away because I didn't do anything with the Comsphere. So now...
Oh, really?
Now I'm going to probably replay Chapter 4 and 5 for the blog.
I'm sorry. It's bad. The Comsphere stuff is bad. It's just tedious.
Okay, but there's stuff that happens in Chapter 5's the side quests that is occasionally interesting.
Lulu has a baby. That's pretty cool.
Like, seeing that kind of reminded me. It's like, oh, man, it's actually really interesting to see this. I just wish that it hadn't been locked away from 3 or 4 arbitrary choices that the game does not communicate all that well. Like, I get completing the side quests, locking this behind doing side quests in order to progress and see the true ending of these individual scenes. That makes sense. But having it locked away with, oh, you talked to Becklem when you had the opportunity with the second batch of the Comspheres. Well, you didn't talk to him, so now you can't see the ending.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's a lot of just watching cutscenes and mousing through a menu to watch cutscenes. It is the interactive experience of what would you call? What are those sequences when you finish the game? Like there might be an extras section where it just has all of the cutscenes in the game that you can just mouse through.
Oh, it's like the Peep Show or like the Movie House.
Or the archive or whatever.
The archives, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but a game that says that this is the main part of the game. You have to do it, otherwise you don't get episode completion. It's bad. Right. So we got that out of the way.
No, there's some things here that I actually want to talk about. Let's just do this slow. So you go to Xanarkhan Ruins, and the monkeys took over, and yada, yada, yada. Yuna threw a hissy fit about how people were violating this wonderful ruins, even though that ruin was esteemed in this bullshit religion, and her sense of entitlement to have this place to herself is completely incongruous to her character arc from Final Fantasy X. Still a problem. But there's a fun little scene with Michin, if you listen to him talk about Vegnagun, that I quite enjoyed. And he talks about how like Vegnagun and Len and Shuyin have this esteemed history, and he finally goes into the far plane. Besaid Island,
I like that Michin is revealed to be an unsent.
Correct.
Because that is kind of implied in 10, but this is it's a nice conclusion to one of the characters you actually care about.
Yeah. I think the Besaid Island stuff where you see Waka with his baby and Lulu not changing her character model even though she has gone through a childbirth because they were fucking lazy. How did she give birth through that dress wearing of belts? I don't know. The game will never tell.
I don't understand why, of all of the character models that they made for this game, why they didn't make a pregnant Lulu model.
Yeah. It's like, what? Like, even the game in, like, Chapter 4 references the fact that she doesn't look like she's pregnant at all.
You're right. She doesn't. Game, you could have done a little bit.
Recognizing you have a problem does not fix the fact that you have a problem.
Yeah, it makes me question why they didn't do it, because I assume there had to be a cost. Now, Lulu and all of the other main characters have better models than all of the other NPCs, so maybe her high-res model was just too much work that we can't just throw away. Like, there's rigging there that isn't there for other character models. But I just don't buy that, because I don't think they even use her high-res model from Final Fantasy X in 10-2. She's always shot from far away, not animating particularly well. So I see absolutely no good reason why they couldn't have made a Lulu just with a bump. Like, modify the old one.
And Besaid is kind of like indicative of what is the biggest issue with these side quests is there are these new characters that are grafted on with the mainstays of Final Fantasy X, and you're supposed to accept these new characters alongside the likes of Wakka and Lulu. So the whole premise of going to Besaid, other than seeing this baby, is for Wakka to resolve his personal issues and the vendetta he has against Becklum, this character who the game introduces in 10-2, and then expects you to feel this emotional investment in this rivalry Becklum and Wakka have. And it's resolved, despite it being implied that they've had this rivalry for years, even though Wakka never fucking mentions Becklum in Final Fantasy X.
Weird.
It's
almost like he didn't exist.
And this problem is constant, absolutely constant throughout Chapter 5 is, hey, here's this Final Fantasy X-2 character we just introduced, and now he or she is going to resolve their problems all of a sudden. It's kind of, I forget, when you did your Mass Effect podcast, did you talk about Mass Effect 3?
No, we talked about Mass Effect 1.
Okay. It's kind of like how in Mass Effect 3, there are so many scenes where, like, hey, remember me from Mass Effect 1 and 2?
Nope.
Well, here's this exposition diarrhea about what I've been doing since, and I was wondering, Commander Shepard, could you help me out in terms of resolving all my personal issues? Remember how I was addicted to stimulants in Mass Effect 1? Well, I finally kicked the habit. How do you feel about that, Mr. Shepard?
Hey, Shepard, you punched me in the face twice. This time, I'm gonna punch you. Yeah, and this game just kind of brings people out of thin air and then tries to say that these characters had long-term relationships with these.
Yeah, like, and then when you go to Kilika, like, the whole idea there is that you finally can reunite Barthelo and Donna, and I was not able to do that because, again, comm spheres and that sort of god-awful dog shit, but, like, the cutscene for having the episode complete isn't that different. Again, they were divided between these two factions. Why did they pick these factions? Why did they continue to develop their relationship once the calm had ended? The game will never tell. And I keep harping at it. I keep mentioning it, but this is the teacher side of my brain speaking. This game is so fervently stuck in a low taxonomy level. It recites information, it provides the information, and it asks you to repeat that information when it presents you a choice in the game. But it never asks you to question your surroundings. It never asks you to – it never engages the metacognition in your brain. It just wants you to, like, hey, here's this character. Did you do our checklist items 1 through 4? Nope. Well, you get the normal ending. Oh, you did? Mission complete. And, like, some of them are completely unrelated with fucking anything that is related to these characters. And that's so frustrating. Like, oh, did you remember to talk to Tobly and watch a comm sphere after talking to Tobly? No? Well, fuck you. You don't get your percentage. Oh, did you remember to go to the Kilika Temple and then backtrack to the characters and talk to them one more time? Why would you ever do that when you know that it's the end of the game? Imagine if you would. And I remember you talked about this when we recorded the Final Fantasy IX podcast. You remember how in Final Fantasy IX, you don't have to leave what's the final level, like the
Memoria.
Crystal World? Yeah, Memoria. You don't have to leave Memoria to talk to everyone to get the true ending in Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah.
But imagine if it did. Like, you have to talk to all of the people from the acting troupe. You have to talk to the Knights of whatever the fuck. You have to talk to the remaining refugees from the wolf dog people. You have to find where everyone is from the scholars. You have to do all of this before you can finally fight the blue demon person from fucking goth punk era 1990s, covered in chains and dog shit and My Chemical Romance is playing in the background.
It's Evanescence. You take that back. It's Evanescence.
But
and
imagine if that was the structure of 9.
In fact, there was a amazing side quest that you can do in 9 that involves you leaving Memoria in between boss battles, and no one discovered it for years because no one ever did that. Why would you ever leave? It's the final dungeon. Turns out there was stuff hidden in the game based on you leaving.
Yep.
And this game doesn't let you... It doesn't let you see all of these stories to completion unless you did a bunch of trivial nonsense. I'm just going to run around, drop these comm spheres off. You have to visit every place at least once so that he drops off the comm sphere.
In order to even have a chance at 100%, you have to actually take the time in Chapter 3 to drop all these fucking comm spheres. And let's be honest, navigating the world of 10 was never fun. There were levels such as the Macalania Woods, which were a colossal fucking nightmare to navigate through. And now that you're in 10.2, like, the entire map is revealed to you, and it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, and they didn't make any... Like, the Comlands aren't any smaller.
Nope.
The Macalania Woods are the same exact distance.
Yep.
And each of those places, if you don't go to the right place for Shinra to drop his little orb, you don't get to have any of the scenes. Now... It's not worth looking at them. Like, most of those scenes are bad, but even if you want the option to complete 100%,
you find out that the reason why Becklem doesn't like... Sorry, I'm talking over you. I'll let you speak.
Oh, no, all I wanted to say is even if you wanted the opportunity to see all of these cutscenes, you have to do the busy work twice.
Yes, you have to fucking drop the spheres there, then you have to watch them, and then what's the resolution? You find out the reason why Becklem doesn't like Waka is because he thinks his brother was... He was close to his brother, and Waka bears some responsibility with Chapu's death. It's like, fucking great! This one offline that you couldn't bother to put into the main story. Like, some of these fucking plot lines could have been interesting. Could have. But then you go to Luca, and you find out that they somehow made Blitzball worse.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a real gut punch when they found a game that some people liked, some people didn't like, but, you know, it had pros and cons. And then they made it worse.
Why would you... Okay, so first off, yes, I don't like Blitzball. Gino, you kind of like Blitzball.
I think it's fine. I don't think it's a trash fire.
I would argue it's a trash fire. We had a letter from someone who actually likes Blitzball, and you know what? Some people really do like Blitzball.
Fine.
But they fucking changed it to where it basically plays itself. Like, you put the players into these formations, so now, for some reason, the rules of Blitzball have changed to where now you have, like, 7 players on the field rather than 4 or 5. You pick formations, and the game basically plays itself. Blitzball doesn't – you don't control Blitzball. Blitzball just happens. And you watch these characters
So I would describe this as the game goes from Madden to NFL Manager. Instead of or NFL Coach, like, instead of being a game where you play as the players, you suddenly are the coach or the GM of this team. Which, guess what? Being the GM of a fake team in a fake league with fake characters that you don't care about is not better. And it's extra weird because many of the some of the characters that you can control, because it's now the Gull Wings and not the Besaid Aurochs, some of the characters on your team used to be good at Blitzball in Final Fantasy X and are very bad at it now.
Yeah, Brother is dog shit.
Yeah, Brother used to be the fastest swimmer in the game, and then in 10.2, nope, that's gone. That was his one interesting characteristic in 10, other than the fact that he couldn't really speak English.
Yeah. I like what happens on the Mihen High Road.
Who did you catch? Who was the criminal?
It ended up being Riku, which is the best goddamn thing ever. Oh my god, it was so fun to watch Riku get in trouble and then have to pick up the shit on the high road, and just Rin rubs it in her face. Yep. So good. I like
that Riku is I think Riku is the best possible outcome, but you can frame just about every person who you'd think you could frame. So like that Chocobo Eater, you can frame the Chocobo Eater. You can also frame the
little girl.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the little girl. You can frame... There's a dude who wants the high road to be de-industrialized. You can frame him. You can say that he and the Chocobo Eater were in cahoots. But I think the Riku ending is the best one.
Oh, it's hilarious. I actually quite enjoyed it. Quite a bit. And that's maybe... You know what? No, that's not the best side quest content.
Well... I think the best side quest content is the Crimson Sphere thing. Do you want me to tell you what happens there, or do you want to... I mean, we should talk about it, I think.
Okay, so first off, fuck the game for putting the last 2 spheres in the Via Infinito, this fucked up dungeon with a bunch of horrible monsters that can hand you your ass on a silver platter. Fuck that. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's complete horseshit.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Now,
tell me what happens.
Okay, so it turns out Paine, Gipple, Barrel-Eye, and Nuge seem to know each other, right?
Yes.
They were members of the Crimson Squad. So the Crimson Squad was this super secret division of Yevon. They were these super duper secret troops, and that area in Mushroom Rock Road that is sealed off behind the Crimson Spheres, I think they excavated it, or they just opened this tomb. And when they went in there, they sent the Crimson Squad in there, I think on a training exercise or something. And they encountered Shuyin.
Yes.
This unsent ghost dude. And Shuyin was in the state he's in now, where he's like vengeful and wants to destroy the world. And he basically possesses the members of the Crimson Squad and causes them to kill each other. And so the reason why Paine, Gipple, Barrel, I think he possesses Nuge, I think he possesses Nuge, and Nuge like offs everyone. And then Gipple, Barrel-Eye, Nuge, and Paine barely survive. And everyone else dies. And when you go in there, you have to fight like some Pyrefly versions of Nuge, Barrel-Eye, and Gipple. And that basically tells you that, hey, remember all those times when Barrel-Eye and different characters have Pyreflies around them and they act really crazy for no good reason? It's because they're possessed by Shuyin.
Awesome. So, like, the only form of context as to who these new characters are is hidden beneath a wall.
Yeah. And the reason why all these characters are doing stupid things that make no sense, that are driving the world to the brink of chaos, is because they're possessed.
It's so fucking... Oh, God damn it. Does that count as a Deus Ex Machina?
Of course it... I mean, I think that they managed to somehow get all of the downsides of the Final Fantasy VIII method of storytelling with none of the upsides. It's amazing.
There's some stuff at
7.
the end that I think has the better parts of Final Fantasy VIII. I did Mushroom Rock Road. I did the weird, stupid tournament, but okay. Oh, motherfuckers.
I just want to say, I think this is the 3rd or 4th Final Fantasy game we've played. I think it's the 3rd, where mind control was a very serious, very important part of the plot. 7, 8, and
10-2.
10-2.
You could argue 9.
In spots. Like,
what
it's more manipulation.
What you find out about Zidane is kind of...
Yeah, but that's more manipulation than actual factual mind control. Like, these people... Why are these people doing these things that they don't make sense? Oh, mind control.
Gino.
Yeah.
You also need to include Mobius Final Fantasy.
Fuck. Yeah. Why do I have to do that?
Because you find out that you're being manipulated from the voice in the sky.
No.
Print out your memories.
No. Why? Okay. Go on.
So, you remember we're going to talk about the whole incident, the jump in the hole incident, and how I was able to out-logic Final Fantasy X's logic. So,
yes.
Mushroom Rock Road.
Yeah.
Elma and whoever... It's Elma and that other girl that wears the like panty thong thing, whatever, battle suit, except she rides a chocobo, so that must be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I've always wondered this. Why would you wear a spandex kind of Speedo-y looking thing while you're riding a mount?
I mean, Elma wears a skirt.
Yeah.
Because Tetsuya Nomura.
But her girlfriend wears the red thing where it's like literally panties.
Yeah. Lucille, I think is her name.
Lucille, that's correct. You talk to Elma and she's like, oh, guys, we found a way for the Youth League to vent all of their negative energy with New Yevon. We're going to have a fun little tournament where we're going to set up a gauntlet. Talk to Yibal, and we'll set up this tournament. So, there's this big glowing red arrow, and it points to the headquarters for the Youth League. So I think, that means I have to go up the elevator and find Yibal at the Youth League headquarters.
Makes sense.
Yep. I trek through all of that cave that leads to the Youth League, which still sucks. That corridor and going up the little platforms and the random encounters still suck. I get up to the elevator. Elevator's not responding. I'm smashing the action button, the C button. I'm hitting all the buttons. No dice. It's like, fucking what the fuck is going on here? Is this a glitch? Is this a problem? Why can't I go up this elevator to go to the Youth League headquarters to start this gauntlet bullshit? So I go back to the front of the entrance of that corridor. I also find out that, man, I thought I had all the Crimson Spheres. Nope, I'm missing 2 Crimson Spheres, and it's the 2 that are stuck in the Via Infinito. We'll talk about that dog shit in a little bit, and then I find out Yibal is at the entrance, and you need to talk to him. And select the option, yes, I would like to do this stupid-ass gauntlet. This is a problem we will talk about very soon. But actually following through on the logic of the game, you can outthink the game and get stuck.
Yeah, because the looks like
is bad.
It's not that the scripting is bad, it's that the designers did not think that, hey, what if they just bypassed the thing? What if they just bypassed the trigger and just went to... Because we gave them too much information. We gave them enough so that they figured out what they needed to do, and actually we need you to hit this other thing. It's weird. It's almost like adventure game logic.
Yes.
But it's for a JRPG. It's weird.
And what's really weird about this whole side questy bullshit is, like, sometimes you go to the Moonflow and you watch a little fun cutscene where you get to see all the characters pose in weird positions with Tolby on his concert platform. And sometimes there are actual legitimate missions with bosses that can fuck you up, like the Jose Temple or the fucking Guado Salam mission or Bevel. Or, like, sometimes they're missions and sometimes they're just stupid-ass cutscenes.
Yes.
And it doesn't prompt you enough. It doesn't warn you enough, like, which is what. So, I got the Tolby
like the
thing.
Thunder Plains.
Or the Thunder Plains. Oh, my God. I was able to beat some of those chimeras, and then I was like, man, fuck this. Because when I looked up the guide, it's like, okay, the first part is to defeat the chimera. Then a crater will appear, and you have to go down the hole and defeat all the evil monsters down there. And there's an evil boss to fight down there. And... blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, I don't want to do this. I want this game out of my soul.
Yep.
Out of my life. It's amazing how much post-game content they introduce. Because they introduce, 3 or 4 secret areas in Chapter 5, which have never been kind of scaffolded. There's the Den of Woe, which is basically the Crimson Spheres.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Via Infinito, and then there's the Calmlands Ruins.
Yep.
There are 3 post-game, post-story tough dungeons that only are easy if you max out your characters and dress spheres.
It's poorly designed. Final Fantasy X-2 is poorly designed. So why don't we talk about how you tried to get this game out of your life for 3 hours? I cannot stress this enough. 3 hours.
You know, there's one thing I want to talk about. I know that we're spending a little time. I liked how the Macalania Wood. I love the scene in the Macalania Woods.
Okay, that's fair.
I like how the Macalania Woods is used to surface Yuna's pent-up emotional baggage related to Titus when you go to the little lake and you kind of have her kind of finally get all of her feelings off her chest. It's very superficial. It's very short, but it was a cathartic scene that I felt like the game should have done in Chapter 2. And everything about Guado Salam and getting the Guado back to their homeland was very good. Like resolving the growing tension between Kimari and Garrick Ronso was largely unfulfilling. It's like, oh, he punched you in the face, and now he punched you in the face, and now Kimari is back to being the elder, and of course the kids didn't find a way to repair his horn, but the whole point is that he can live without it. But the Macalania Woods, that whole environment is one of the few consistently dour and emotionally poignant levels in the game, consistently. And I think that it does three things very well. One, it is a metaphor for the changing landscape of Final Fantasy X-2 versus Final Fantasy X. Like, yeah, sure, you talked about how, oh, the woods are dying, but it never really surfaces that. But at least it tries. It tries to use an environment to surface how there are these big changes in store for Spira's future. And everything about Trommel and the Guado is great. It's some of the most resonant stuff in the game. And using it to surface Yuna's emotions about Titus, even though it's still awkward she can't say Titus's name, is good. I found that, again, cathartic.
Yeah, I think that the Macalania Woods stuff is some of the more poignant and on tone in Final Fantasy X too. It's a shame that there's so much other garbage in it.
And let's just return to one of our favorite features from the previous podcast chapter, double fuck you.
Yes.
Okay.
A special fuck you to all of the comm spheres, everything involving them, everything that you have to do with them, a special fuck you.
A special fuck you to the Cactuar Nation mission. And everything you do with the Cactuars.
A special fuck you to whoever decided that Blitzball needed to change radically.
A special fuck you to whoever designed the fucking Via Infinito.
A special fuck you to whoever decided the Chimeras and then the King Behemoth that you fight on the Thunder Plains are in any way on the same level, such that one should precipitate the other and you should feel prepared.
A special fuck you to the boss battle with Experiment and how it gets harder depending on how much you've been digging in the Bicanel Desert, despite the fact the game incentivizes you to dig in the desert.
Yeah, for me it was super easy because I didn't dig at all.
I dug so much, and that thing is impossible.
A special fuck you to Donna and Bartello's story resolution, because they basically don't change at all.
A special fuck you to resolving Kimari versus Garrick Ronso in the most unsatisfying way possible.
I have no more fuck yous left. Actually, a special fuck you to whoever decided that the way to get in the hole to go to the final boss area was to go through a menu by talking to Brother instead of going to the actual holes.
All right, so let's talk about this.
Specialist fuck you.
Also, fuck you to whoever designed the Comlands for the mission complete, the episode complete to be doing the PR campaign for those companies and getting a guy married.
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot about that. That's bad, too.
All right, so real quick, do you think that this problem with jumping in the hole was my fault.
Partially, but the game... So, no, actually, no. I don't think it was your fault, because the game, up until that point, you go in the hole. That's how you get to the far plane the first time. You see monsters come out of the holes. And I think you fall in by accident, right? Una falls in by accident.
Yes.
The game primes you for thinking that, hey, you just go jump in the hole. The game talks about, hey, we need to jump in the hole. I think it is completely reasonable to try to go jump in the hole. And the fact that talking to brother is not usually how you pick things from the map. It's how you talk to buddy. So why would you ever think to talk to brother?
All right.
Unless brother in a cutscene says, talk to me when you're ready to go.
So a little context to our listeners. You will see on both my YouTube account, actually, yeah, my YouTube account, because Twitch makes your streams disappear after a certain number of weeks and months. I streamed what should have been me attempting to complete the story and just saying, man, I'll do all this side quest stuff when I have winter break or Christmas break for the blog series. And what I ended up getting stuck on was like when the game says, okay, you have 4 choices, Besaid, Kilika, Bevel, or like the secret chamber of the faith in the Comlands. These holes where you jump into them in order to get into the far plane and confront Vegnagun in this shitty looking hellscape that was pulled from Half-Life 1. Now, the mission says, all right, time for you to pick the hole for you to jump into. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to look this up on a guide. Guide says Besaid and Kilika are the easies. Great. Let's go to Kilika. Fly over to Kilika, watch the cutscene with Donna. Totally unsatisfying. So, like, all these characters are united, but you don't know any of these characters and you don't feel invested with this environment. Whatever. Get into the temple. I navigate all the way to the bottom. I get into the hole, and it's just there. The hole into the far plane that we kept falling into or dealing with these dark aeons in the first place. Can't jump into it. It's like, well, what the fuck? It's like I'm just jamming the X and C buttons. Like, well, the X button's the jump button when you have these platforming bits. So I keep thinking, man, I must not have. Maybe I'd need to do a mission complete. So I end up going to Besaid. And I'm talking to Becklum, and I get my episode conclude, and yada, yada, yada. Navigate all the way to the bottom. And you saw this, Gino. Getting to the bottom of these temples takes a great deal amount of time.
Yeah,
especially with Bevel.
It's not, especially with Bevel, it's not that it's just a little pick a thing off a menu and you show up there. You need to run through the town. You have to go into the temple. You have to run through the Chamber of the Faith, which is complete. I mean, the test, the trials, the Cloister of Trials. You have to run through the Cloister of Trials.
That entire environment.
Then you need to go down an elevator usually, and then you open a slow-moving door, and then you get to a hole. And it's like, oh, I just jump in the hole. Right? You don't jump in the hole. You talk to brother, and then brother puts you in the hole.
So that was 2 hours and 30 minutes of my life. Banging my head. How do I jump into this hole?
It was so... Well, you could have probably watched Titanic in the time it took to get down the hole.
Let me look up how much time I spent with that first
like 3
disaster.
hours.
It was almost 3 hours, right?
Yeah, it was bad. It
was pretty bad.
Almost every movie. You could
at
have
least
watched.
once. It was 2 hours and 31 minutes and 32 seconds.
Yeah, you could have watched almost all movies in that time. At least one movie. I'm sorry. But then you got in the hole. You found the hole. And in the hole...
is the most generic-ass looking evil
floating
hellscape.
Platforms.
Climbing the platforms. Like I said, if you've played Half-Life 1 and you remember the alien level at the end, which sucked ass, you know what the inner far plane looks like. And what's really disappointing is we have seen the far plane before in both 10 and 10.2, but It has never looked like this. They've just generated some assets so as that you have this new looking environment, and it's just the assiest looking, like, blocky ass floating platforms. Do you know what's really weird? Is I ended up booting up. It's like, man, this looks like shit. I ended up booting up Final Fantasy VII, and I thought, like, a very similar scene in Final Fantasy VII is when you go into the live stream and you're hopping down the stone platform there. I think that looks better.
I agree.
It's like resonant. It's this climactic scene. It's nothing like the rest of the world, and it's been building up with you navigating through this environment.
But
and, like,
also important, it has colors.
It has colors.
There's green. The far plane is basically a bunch of gray platforms that they used, I guess, the same level editor that they used to make the other weird disjointed dungeons that are unique to 10.2, and then it's on a stark black background. It looks like you're just jumping on brown platforms in space in a level editor. Whereas the descent into the center of the earth in Final Fantasy VII, it has green, it has foliage, all these crazy ideas, you know? It has vines, ooh.
I also feel like there's variety to navigating the live stream in Final Fantasy VII that kind of builds up to the fact that you're getting closer and closer to hell. And then in 10.2, it starts out kind of looking like hell, and then it becomes this weird metallic electrified wasteland.
And then it becomes Terra from Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah.
You get to the bottom. So as you go down, you fight the last Aeons that you haven't fought yet. So you fight Shiva.
And those...
She sucks. You fight the Magus sisters, who also suck.
I would argue.
3 of them.
So I would argue the Magus sisters of the final boss rush are, for me, was the hardest boss battle in the game because there's 3 of them, and that Delta attack they do is no joke. And
I think I killed one in time so that they didn't use it on me.
Here's the biggest problem I have with these Dark Ants. We've talked about the first big problem, which is they're literally reusing assets that they've had from Final Fantasy X, and you have seen these Dark Aeons before. You have fought these Aeons before, time and time again in Final Fantasy X. We've talked about that. That ship has sailed. Here's the big problem I have in terms of mechanics. Fighting the Aeons plays out exactly how you use the Aeons. So if you inflict a certain amount of damage, they get their super powerful overdrive, and they use that overdrive against you. So here's the problem. The programmers have arbitrarily set the HP for these bosses at a certain amount, which means if you are not careful, the number of times in which they use their overdrive is a finite amount, which is probably too much. And sometimes those overdrives are incredibly powerful and can wipe your party clean.
Yeah. So with the Magus sisters, there are 3. If you take out even one of them, then they can't use their overdrive. However, if you don't know that, and you spread the damage around, or you deal damage to all 3 of them simultaneously, like with darkness or an all-targeting move, instead of focus firing, they will just keep using Delta attack over and over and over again.
Correct.
Is that what happened?
Yes, that is exactly what happened.
They're sisters. You need to take out the little one first.
I actually did not have all that much experience with the Magus sisters because I did not get them in Final Fantasy X, and I didn't encounter them at all.
Yeah, they're weird. You can't tell them what to do. You just give them advice, and then they'll act accordingly. It's like Yojimbo in that way. Yojimbo, you pay him, and then he does something. The Magus sisters, you just say, like, use attacks, support, that sort of stuff, and then they'll make their own decisions.
So, yeah, the fucking Magus sisters and fighting the Aeons is just the laziest shit in the entire game, and it's not fun.
Fighting
and
Anima
also,
again.
you've seen... How many times have you fought fucking Anima in Final Fantasy X? Because there's a boss battle in which you fight Anima because of Seymour, and then you fight Anima... Fuck this game. Fuck this game's cheapness. Like, what? Ah!
I think it will be the potentially the fourth time. Because you fought him with Seymour, you fight her with Seymour, you fight her. I think there's a Dark Aeon version of Anima, and then you fight Anima at the end of 10, and then you fight it here. So, enjoy. Moi.
So frustrating.
Oh,
because...
and you can fight Anima if you fight Beldamine, the summoner lady. Belgamine, you can fight Anima again. So you can fight Anima 5 times.
Yeah. So, so frustrating because, like, and if you want your new and original boss designs, they're all in Chapter 5 in side quest content. There's the Via Purifica, where you fight the old man dude who will, like I said, hand you your ass on a silver platter if you're not careful. Apparently, he's the super boss in the game. Okay. There's the evil demon monster in the electrified field with the piano puzzle.
Yeah, if you screw up the piano puzzle, he kills you badly. And he's actually the hardest thing you can fight in Chapter 5 outside of the super boss. He's way stronger than the final boss. I actually had to look up the piano puzzle because I kept fighting. Actually, I think if you fight that dude and kill him, then you can just like run through a bunch of stuff.
I saw that in a guide that says you have 2 choices. You can do the piano puzzle or you can try and beat this impossible boss.
Yep.
And then all of these new boss battles against characters you've never seen before, whether it be Nuge, Shadow Nuge, whatever you want to call him, or any of these new characters, it's all hidden inside content. Otherwise, you are literally you're waiting until you fight Vegnagun and Shuyin. And
Vegnagun, when you're up to Vegnagun, there are 3 groups. There's Nuge, Barrel Eye, and Gipple. There's you and YRP. And then there's, what's her name? She sucks. LeBlanc and her crew. And you split up to take down Vegnagun. And in true fashion, they say, we'll take down one part, you take down another part, and then YRP, you take down this part. And it turns out everyone fucking sucks at their jobs. So You have to kill all of it.
You have to do all of it. But we're skipping what I think is one of the worst parts of Chapter 5.
What?
The piano puzzle.
Oh, yeah, the piano puzzle, fucking terrible.
Oh, my God. This fucking thing is the worst. I believe we now have a candidate for worst puzzle in a Final Fantasy game, bar none.
Yeah.
This is worse than Ultimecia's bullshit. This is worse than anything from fucking Final Fantasy IX. What's the worst puzzle in Final Fantasy VII?
Well, first in 9, there's the light puzzle where you have to walk by these.
That's not fun.
These lights. That's not great. There's also a puzzle where you need to like dial in a platform so that it.
Yeah, that's not fun.
It goes up. Those are the 2 worst puzzles in 9. In 7, the dolphin sucks. It's not even a puzzle.
There's all the vehicle stuff.
Yeah. There's a bunch of mini games.
There's the snow world where you keep passing out at the cabin.
Oh yeah, that sucks. And 8, there's the fight with the paratrooper. That sucks.
Yeah, but ultimately it's Ultimecia's castle, which is the worst puzzle.
Kinda. But
you
know
like
the real worst. I like it. I like Ultimecia's castle, but I agree that it's obtuse. But nothing is as bad as this stupid puzzle. You need to like play Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti, and then it unlocks this gate, and then you need to remember what you played on the piano,
and you have to jump on the platforms.
Jumping on platforms.
Oh my god,
sounds.
That was the worst part of this puzzle because it's not very clear which platforms lead to the platform you need to jump on. So I kept fucking up when I got into the platforms that float to the other ones. It's like, well, now I'm next to this platform that is going to completely ruin my sequence, and so now I'm fucked. And
now I need to start over again.
I need to start over again unless I want to fight this Ahura Mazda mechanical dragon monster thing.
Yeah, it's bad.
And just
bad.
Like, okay.
It's like nothing else in the game. Just like most of the things in Final Fantasy X-2. This is like nothing else. It is a unique fuck you that none of the other None of the other parts of the games even hint that this is a thing that might happen.
And here's ultimately, I get it. I get that music plays a significant role in the narrative of Final Fantasy X-2. Okay? Then make the fucking song like sequencing the right bits or the stanzas already created, or make the song you sing during the concert sequence. It's this melodic tune that you've never heard before, and if you have heard before, whatever. It's very abstracted to a point where I felt like, well, what the fuck am I listening to?
Let me put you this way. It's not the theme of Final Fantasy X-2. It's not even Melodies of Light Waves or Memories of Light Waves. It's a song that's just in this section, really.
Correct.
It doesn't repeat. It's not like it's the theme.
It's not like it's Sephiroth's theme of the game
something.
either.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and like I said, I kind of abstracted it when you have to just put it into the keyboard, like the fucking, just input the chords like it's Animal Crossing when you're making your city's music tune. Or you're using Mario Paint. But when you get to the part where you have to jump on the platforms, it plays the correct platforms in the order once, or however long you want to listen it to. But it's like, what the fuck? I don't have like a map. What am I supposed to just draw on a piece of paper what the correct order is? And then every time you even make one mistake, if you try to, there's no way to like undo what you've done. And the platforms that move you to where you want to go, if you pick the wrong platform and you go to a musical key that you don't want to touch, you're fucked, because you can't just hit, oh wait, take me back. No, you have to jump back and forth. It's a bad thing. Like,
it's bad.
I'm Square Enix has been making these fucking games for 20 to 30 years. 30 years, probably, right? Basically,
yeah,
like
at that
30,
point, yeah.
Yeah, 30 years. They've been making these games. And they still, to this day, are completely confident they can do puzzles. They're absolutely confident that they are totally adept at making puzzles. And they continue to not actually be able to do puzzles in their game. I have not played a single god dang puzzle that I enjoyed in Final Fantasy ever. Like, you tell me, Gino, is there a puzzle in a Final Fantasy game that's you've gone like, oh hey, that's actually kind of clever. I enjoyed that. Or are they just like these weird impediments where you're like, man, I'm glad that's over with?
Has there ever been a good one? I like the puzzles in 8 in some spots.
Mr. Monkey?
I think that's dumb. So, let me put it to you this way. As someone who had a guidebook, I enjoyed them as, oh, that's a clever little brain teaser. I could see how this works. If I actually had to solve the puzzles, if I was engaging with them as puzzles and not as text, I would have hated them. So,
yep.
I've almost never engaged with a Final Fantasy puzzle as anything other than text because I've found them to be bad. So, yeah, I guess I haven't met a single Final Fantasy puzzle where I was like, actually, I want to solve this myself. Usually I just think that it's an impediment in the way of other parts of the game that I like more. I guess there's that part with Sid when he's a frog and you need to get past that hedgehog pie.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's
I like
dumb.
the music. That's pretty good. It's dumb.
It's dumb.
I like you have to play hot and cold or like freeze tag or something.
Yeah, that's a dumb scene.
That's a dumb scene. It can only see when you move.
There's
a good one.
Remember when Final Fantasy games could be goofy in an endearing way?
I do. I loved those. Those were my favorites.
And now whenever Final Fantasy is trying to be goofy or referential, it's like the most cringiest shit you've ever seen.
Yep.
So you
Make
end
you
up
sad all the time.
You end up. Gino, can I ask you a question?
Sure, go for it.
Can we do question time?
Yeah, question time. Go.
All right. So, Gino, what is the maximum you've gotten to, like, either percent or completion with Final Fantasy X-2?
I think like 70 or 80.
Okay, that's about where I ended up. I think I ended up like 70-ish.
I might have gotten into the 90s the first time I played this game because I remember actually doing the Crimson Sphere stuff, and I think that gets you up to there.
Yeah, okay. All right, question time in terms of the story. So Vegnagun is a robot that the Xenarchians made 1,000 years ago.
The Bavelians.
Oh, the Bavelians made 1,000 years ago.
Yes.
So did they put Vegnagun into the far plane?
No, Shuyin did.
Okay.
It used to be in Bavel, and then he opened up that hole, and Vegnagun was moved to the far plane.
Why does Vegnagun want to be in the far plane?
It doesn't. It got moved there by Shuyin.
But no, why does Shuyin pilot Vegnagun into the far plane if the whole point is he wants to raise the planet and destroy it?
Because he needs to move it somewhere where you can't stop him. So he takes it to the far plane.
So, okay. Why is the far plane just the far plane next to Guadosalam, or is the far plane underground?
Seems like it's both.
But it didn't seem like that was the case in Final Fantasy X.
Yep. Welcome to Final Fantasy X 2. Turns out there's a subterranean tunnel system where the dead go.
Okay.
Or something.
But, okay. Now, around this time, like, voices in your head, this is the fucking most frustrating goddamn thing. It's like, you hear Auron, Jecht, and Braska, like, cheering on and giving you advice as you're fighting Vegnagun.
Mm-hmm.
So, that sucks. That's just, like, the game's giving you a middle finger. Like, hey, you remember these wonderful characters from Final Fantasy X?
Remember when we made good characters?
Remember how people were wondering, hey, I really hope Final Fantasy X-2 is Braska, Jecht, and Auron going on their adventure, even though you already know what happens in the end. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, it would have.
It would have been really cool. But, and then you see Ghost Boy. So, what is the point of Yuna sending these people if they're not actually sent and they can just appear before her whenever they feel like it?
Well,
what's the benefit of them not being frozen into the pillar of the blue dick in wherever the fuck the blue dick was shooting off its energy into the sky, and now they're into the far plane and they're still ghosts for some goddamn reason?
In the far plane, like, ghosts are. That's what you see in the far plane. Is ghosts. Like, you can see the dead in the far plane. But I don't know. It's unclear whether that's the pyroflies reacting to the memories of people or if they're actually there. Though in this game, they talk. They
never mention. They never really build up, like, why are these characters talking to Yuna? How?
Yeah. This game is not interested in the metaphysical stuff that Final Fantasy X set up. It doesn't care.
So during my final stream, I was just kind of, like, racking my mind around. It's like, man, I really wonder what, like, the voice actors for Braska, Jecht, and Auron were told when they were like, hey, we're going to make Final Fantasy X 2. It's like, wait, my character died. How are you going to bring me back? It's like, my character's dead. It's like, yeah, well, we're going to have this really one-off, really short scene where you're cheering on Yuna. It's like, that sounds like the worst goddamn shit in human existence. Auron has the most badass outro in the entire game of Final Fantasy X. It's like, so I was just trying to rack my brain, like, what was the conversation they had when they were talking to the voice actor of Auron? It's like, just, it's so frustrating to see these characters who had these really, even Jecht had a very good send-off. Like Titus encountered his father, came to terms with his abuse, and Jecht is still an asshole, but you can see that kernel of parental care that he has for Titus as he disappears one final time. And the pain and agony he caused Titus, he recognizes it and he becomes cognizant of it. And now here they are saying, hey, shoot the yellow orb and kill Vegnagun, otherwise he's going to shoot like electricity at you.
Yep.
It's insulting.
Hey, remember when you fight? Well, one, I love that Vegnagun's actually a big moth.
Yeah.
It's like a big butterfly creature controlled by piano, which is just the stupidest design. And then you fight its like legs and tail and stuff. You fight random bits of it, and then it chrysalises and like its wings unfurl, and then you have to fight it again.
It's very clear that they were like, hey, a lot of people really liked that last battle against Sin in Final Fantasy X. Well, I guess we need to make something similar to that. Let's just...
But Vegnagun it looks bad.
It looks bad.
It looks like it's a bad design.
And
this butterfly creature.
Here's the fundamental problem. Like, I've harped on this before, and I hate if I'm just saying the same thing over and over again, but I have to talk about why I did not like this game. You know what Sin is throughout the story of Final Fantasy X. You know Sin is the anchor for the story. From the very first scene when you watch him destroy Zanarkand, Dream Zanarkand, whatever, you know what Sin is all about, okay? Vegnagun does not become a factor in the story until Chapter 2. And even then, how it interconnects to Shuyin, how it interconnects with Yuna, or anything that was introduced in the initial moments of Final Fantasy X-2. How does this relate to, like, the sphere she saw? What does this have to do with this? It just... So this climactic battle where they clearly put a lot of time and effort to create this massive beast feels empty and hollow because you don't know why you are here doing this other than the game needs you to be here. The game needs to have an evil monster because Final Fantasy X had an evil-looking monster. And I know that a lot of people talk about how much they think that Sin's design is dopey-looking, but there's a massive scale to Sin where regardless of how you feel about Sin's design, it feels empowering when you're beating it and you're making progress in your battle against Sin. With Vegnagun, one, it's the scale is much smaller. Two, the design is ridiculous. Like at one point, it just bursts this giant gun out of its chest, and it's like, this is a fucking Gundam anime. It's like,
doesn't it come out of its mouth?
Yeah, no, it comes out of what?
It's the chest. It's stupid either way. Who cares? It's stupid.
And it's like, so this game wants me to make this really it's like the game wants me to take it serious, but I can't take it serious because it's stupid. And it tries to make me laugh, but I can't laugh at it because it's horrendously terrible with its attempts at humor. And like,
I can't laugh because it's not funny.
It's not funny.
I can't take it seriously because it's stupid. I can't find it endearing because it is insulting everything that came before it. It's this game that doesn't know what it wants to be, except that it wants to sell.
Exactly.
And it's just such a shame because there are so many bits of this game that I want to like. I like the dress sphere system in the abstract. The execution is poor. I like the changes, the tweaks they made to the job system and how it interacts with the ATB system. I like those things. It's a shame that they fucked up how it actually behaves. It's a shame that, hey, this Charlie's Angels storyline doesn't tie in to most of the shit you have to do on a moment-to-moment basis. All these different side quests make no sense. Hey, this Consphere system is needless busywork. And this final boss is just yet another thing. Here's this enemy that we've shown you in like 2 cutscenes that now is going to destroy the world, and it's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous scene. You're going to fight with 3 people. It's going to be like this 9-person team up, and then they all just
crumble
suck.
in the wayside.
They suck too much. And then you have to defeat it, and then you keep defeating bits of it, and then you have to fight its stupid chest, and then when you beat its stupid chest, Shuyin's like, okay, I'm going to stop playing the piano. and fight you myself, and he just has all of Titus's moves. Which is kind of
And
cool. That's kind of cool.
That is actually cool. The battle with Shuin is the best part of Chapter 5. But here's the other thing. Is like I had a real hot, cold feeling when I was playing Final Fantasy X too, because its tonal changes happened on the fly. So when you finally talk to Nuge, he's like, I got this master plan. I'm going to shoot Barreleye, and I'm not going to kill him, but I might kill him. I'm just going to shoot him. It's like, that's the worst fucking idea I've ever heard, but fine. What are you going to do when Shuin jumps to you? It's like, I'm going to blow myself up. And it's like, wait, what? That's your plan? And Yuna, have we talked about how the dialogue is dog shit? I think we have.
Yeah, we have. We've talked about all of these problems with the game, and now this is the last moment. This game is bad.
And so it's like, okay, Yuna, you're going to have this real emotional scene. And what does she say? Your plan sucks. Just,
yeah.
What? That's all you can muster? And we have this long, dramatic kind of like Yuna talking about how her pilgrimage emotionally drained her and it made her realize that sacrifice isn't always needed, and how sometimes your sacrifices don't amount to anything. But you always have the void of your friends and family being gone forever. And it's an emotional scene. And what does the game do? LeBlanc comes into the forefront. It's like, I'm LeBlanc being all silly crazy. Here's Gipple. He's going to be that chauvinist piece of shit that he's always been. And then, like, on the drop of a hat, it transitions from an emotional, impassioned plea from Yuna to Nuge to schlocky nonsense. And like you said, I can't take it serious because it's stupid. I can't laugh because it's not funny. And everything else is bad. It makes me feel bad. It makes me angry. It's like, just, you know what? Here's what I'm willing to say to people who like Final Fantasy X. What I see in Final Fantasy X is like there is room for a fun, just an unmitigated, fun, happy adventure in a Final Fantasy game. Maybe even the world of Final Fantasy X. What if Final Fantasy X had just committed to a Charlie's Angels adventure with these characters, and it was just a bunch of J-pop, and it was just a bunch of fun? Fine. But it's like, when it cranks up the melodrama, it's the worst. It can't elevate itself above, like, B-tier anime storytelling. And it ends up committing, like, the cardinal sins of tropey anime storytelling, which usually the Final Fantasy franchise avoids. Usually it's the one that defines the tropes rather than play up the tropes.
Yep. This game.
So
do you have any... The game ends then?
No, the battle with Shuin's actually fun.
That's pretty good.
It's a good battle. To see Shuin use Titus's attacks, like the completed sphere grid of Titus, was fun. And I would argue that the ending moment with Shuin and Len almost redeems Chapter 5.
Yeah, Len bursts out of you and then goes to Shuyin, and then they pass on together or whatever.
I think that's a good scene. But it's too little, too late. It's too little, too late, and everything the game does after that is just the biggest insult I've seen in a Final Fantasy game afterward. It's like, okay, finally, we can take this deep, deep breath of relief, we can move on, and then it's like, oh, guys, we're going to completely forget all of this emotional resonance from this scene with Shuyin and Len and just have a fucking soap opera-esque, like, we're all buddies. Power corrupts people. It's bad. Learn from our mistakes.
Yep. Did you see the extended perfect ending?
So, Gino, yes, I did. And
I never have. Tell me what it is.
Okay.
I've intentionally never watched it because it seems stupid.
First off, Gino, it's the whole point of Final Fantasy X so is that they can fucking retcon the ending of Final Fantasy X and bring Titus back from the dead. Is that the fucking whole point of Final Fantasy X-2?
No, the whole point of 10-2 is to make money.
Okay, sure, whatever. So...
But there seems to be very little narrative reason for 10-2 to exist.
All right, so here's what happens. You've never really actually seen this scene?
No, I haven't. Okay. I've intentionally not watched it because it seems... I don't want to ruin the finality of 10's ending because that's part of what makes it good.
Well, I also already told you what happens in Final Fantasy X but... You remember when you walked in the flower field with everyone and you leave the far plane?
Yeah.
Okay, so rather than Yuna walks away for good, she hears a whistle. She's like, oh, fuck. What happened? Who is that? And then Ghost Boy pops up. And he's like, do you want to see him? And then a dialogue prompt pops up that says, yes, or, and I shit you not, no, I think it's better this way. So you can even fuck up the true ending if you 100%ed the game if you pick the wrong choice.
You can say, no, I think you're gonna do a bad thing here, guys. I'm gonna veto this one hard.
And then it plays the normal ending. And if you pick yes, rather than see, well, I think you still see Barreleye and Nuge and Gipple do their fucking speech. But eventually the game transitions. Actually, you don't even see that speech. So the whole idea that these factions have reconciled their differences is completely removed from the story, which is great. Instead, what you see is the end credits teaser from Final Fantasy X where Tidus is sleeping in the water. And what happened is in the flower field, the little ghost boy said, we'll see what we can do. We'll try our best. And so Tidus wakes up in the underwater world, and then he surfaces up, and then he's suddenly in the same ocean that he started in by Besaid when he met Wakka. Just came up. He was just in the ocean. And he looks up into the sky, and of course, the Celsius flies over him. And he waves at it, and he chases after it, even though he doesn't know Yuna is in that fucking ship. He's never seen the ship before. He doesn't know what it is. But somehow he just knows that Yuna is in that ship. And Yuna pops out. She goes up to him. They hug. And all of a sudden, like, for some reason, on the beach, everyone in Besaid is lining up to see Tidus. And Wakka makes this funny jokey joke thing like, hey, you two, you need to get a room. Ha 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 ha. Tidus retorts with, why are you staring? And like, it's all fun and games. They're back together. Oh boy. And so they celebrate a bonfire in Besaid where they're celebrating Chapu. I forgot to say, yeah, of course. The little baby, you still don't know its name, but it's probably going to get named Chapu. Don't fuck around.
Probably. Yeah.
Don't fuck around. He's going to name the baby Chapu. And then Tidus and Yuna have this fun little scene. For some reason, they go to the place where they stuck all their weapons in the Zanarkand ruins.
Sure. And get all of the best hits.
And they have this conversation about how they need to cherish each other and stay by each other's side. And he talks about how he's never going to leave her again, but he doesn't know entirely why he is here or if he can ever disappear. And she's like, I don't care if you disappear. As long as I have another minute with you, it means so much more to me. I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Yeah.
And so the explanation, the justification for bringing Tidus back is he's like, well, maybe I think the Faith, they cobbled together all of my memories, and that was enough to bring me back to life. They pulled all the memories of Tidus and Yuna together to create this clone of Tidus.
I hate Final Fantasy X too. You managed to fuck up, I think, one of the best endings.
One of the best endings
of a Final Fantasy game.
In video games, period.
You managed to take one of the best endings. Like, I think it competes with 9. It, like, punches with 9. It punches with 7.
It's definitely not as consistent as 9 and 7. Oh, well, actually, I think 10
the
is
ending. The
definitively
ending. I'm
better than 7.
just talking about the ending.
Yeah.
But they managed to take the ending of the best thing in the ending is that Titus dies. Is that that scene where he hugs her and they can't hug and he falls through her and then tries to embrace her but can't. That is the best thing in that whole game. And they fucked it up and JRPG'd and animated it so that they just animated the shit out of it. They gave Yuna some Dragon Balls, and they wished him back to life, and then they came with this giant, convoluted, stupid reason why this character, who should be dead, is alive again. So, thank you, Square, for actually managing to screw up one of the best things you've ever done.
Like, the best things that the post-Gooch era of Final Fantasy has ever done.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, so thanks for that.
Thank you for that. Like, yeah, I think I've gone on record as saying that for me personally, Final Fantasy X is probably my favorite Final Fantasy game. I know that for you, it's 9 for many reasons that you've explained to this audience. But I don't know. It's like part of me really enjoyed everything that Final Fantasy X does. Like when Titus dematerializes and the game makes it abundantly clear you're not getting the happy ending the 10's smarmy tone demanded and almost like was going to equivocate, I couldn't help but applaud the writers for taking this monumental risk, like to feed the Final Fantasy audience a cocktail of sadness, a dour cocktail of heartache.
They killed Aeris at the end. They killed Cloud at the end.
Yeah, imagine that.
They killed Cloud and they killed Barrett at the end of the game. Like, it's so good. And then they made a second game and undid it. That's the thing. Like, I want to like 10 too. I like a lot of ideas in it. But damn, guys. But damn.
It's almost...
You managed...
Yeah.
You fan-serviced it too hard.
Yeah.
You did too much.
And...
dial it back.
It almost leads me to believe that, Square Enix is not good at making video... I don't know if I should say this. I'm just going to say this and maybe you can respond. Square Enix now is not good at making good video games. Good video games just happen. And then they capitalize on them. They just happen to them. They get lucky. And then they coast on that success until they start to get their financials get dire, and then they try hard again, and then hopefully the system self-corrects itself.
I mean, I think definitely Square Enix has shown that they don't know what the hell they're doing, because Bravely Default did amazing, and they were completely befuddled. Hey, we made this classic role-playing game. It turns out that's what people wanted, and then 13, they needed to stretch out for a decade because they invested way too much money in the engine and in the assets, so they couldn't afford to make other games. They've been running the same Kingdom Hearts play for what seems like 20... It feels like 20 years, but it's not. It's like 15 years. They've just been recycling the same central idea of Kingdom Hearts over and over and over again. I think it's pretty clear they don't know what they're doing in their JRPG division anymore. 15, you can't spend a decade making one game and be a healthy company that knows what you're doing.
Well, unless you get really successful at making free-to-play mobile games.
Then I mean, it's very easy to make slot machines and make money on slot machines, but that doesn't mean you know what you're doing when it comes to making long-form role-playing games. It's amazing watching them run away from the things they've had the most success with, and they keep doing it. And 10-2, this is nothing to do with 10-2. Like, 10-2 is a cash grab, a cheaply made, hastily made cash grab that is largely fan service, that It's fan service in a bunch of different directions. Like, it recalls the job system. It panders to a male gaze. It retcons the sad part of 10. It brings back a bunch of characters you like from 10 and advances their storylines a little bit. It gives Yuna, like, some fun in the sun, Charlie's Angels stuff. It's fan service on so many levels, and it's a shame that they fucked it up so bad.
Yeah. But, and this is something that I've kind of racked my mind around. I mentioned this in the blog, but I mentioned this on the first blog, is if the whole point of Final Fantasy X-2 is for them to make a shameless cash grab, and I think I can tolerate one shitty Final Fantasy game if it means this company stays afloat and the skilled men and women that are there
totally
continue to be a part of this industry.
I'm glad that 10-2 exists because it kept the company afloat.
Yeah.
I'm not glad. I don't like 10-2, but I think that it was successful in its goal. It was a financially successful game when they needed one. It was they were swinging for a base hit.
Yeah.
They were not trying to hit a home run. They were just trying to get a single so that they didn't lose.
Correct.
And that was successful. They did that. This game is, for as much as I say I am upset about how this game turned out and playing it, it is still better than a good number of games I've played. It is totally an acceptable game. It's just in a series where I have higher standards.
You mean that it's still better than Sonic: The Dark Brotherhood?
Fuck yes, it's better than Sonic: The Dark Brotherhood.
It's better than Nekopara?
Nekopara's not a game.
It's better than... What's another bad game you've played for your podcast?
Bad game I've played?
On the podcast. Have you finished Brave Fencer Musashi?
Yes, I have. I would rather play. I don't know. They're operating in the same.
How
space
insane
for
is
me.
it that, like, oh man, that's the same studio. Fucking A. But at the same time, fucking A. Like, this is from an era when, like, Final Fantasy wasn't just the only thing that Square was making.
Yeah, I'd rather play this than play Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. So, Gino, we have two things to discuss. One, the future of our future, but also it is time to scientifically rank this.
Yes.
All right. So, currently the standings have Final Fantasy IX is the best Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy X is the second best, Final Fantasy VII, then Final Fantasy VIII, then all the way in the bottom, Mobius Final Fantasy.
Forever.
So, I think we can safely say that we should start at the bottom rather than the top.
That is, yes.
All right. So, is Final...
Yeah, sure.
Well, okay, let's go down from the top. Is Final Fantasy X-2 better than Final Fantasy IX?
1, 2, 3.
No. Is Final Fantasy X-2 better than Final Fantasy X?
1, 2, 3.
No. Is Final Fantasy X-2 better than Final Fantasy VII?
1, 2, 3.
No. Is Final Fantasy X-2 better than Final Fantasy VIII?
1, 2, 3.
No. All right. So now it comes down to, do we hate the game that pisses away all of its potential and has a bunch of half-baked ideas, or
actually, before we just dismiss the 8 and 10-2 comparison, I do have a question, because it's not better than 8. But which game has the better concert?
10-2.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think 10-2 has the better concert. But Final Fantasy 8 has better everything else. So 8 wins.
Yeah. All right. So
it's not as bad as Mobius.
I don't know, man. I don't know. At least Mobius is its own thing, and it doesn't.
No, it's not.
Insult your reverence for Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it does. That's all it does, is it cheaply exploits Final Fantasy nostalgia. That's all it is. They make levels every once in a while that, like, sends you back to other Final Fantasy worlds so you can experience the stories. It's like Kingdom Hearts, but only Final Fantasy stuff. And there's chaos, and there's a garland, and it's just Final Fantasy fan service. But the game part is barely a game. You can hit autoplay, and then it's a screensaver.
Yeah, but, like, all right. Gino, how much money did you spend on Final Fantasy the HD remaster?
Like $30.
Okay, how much money did you spend on Mobius Final Fantasy?
$0.
Exactly. You get whatever you want out of Final Fantasy Mobius Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy X-2 has its way with you whether you want it to or not.
Mobius Final Fantasy, the part where you don't really play it. You just hit autoplay, and then the game plays itself, and then occasionally you see a cutscene. It's not great. But I did get a Tonberry on a snowboard. That was pretty good. I got a fairy that was a Tonberry on a snowboard, so that was good. But every other experience I had with the game was negative. So, the numbers did go higher.
Yep.
That was pretty cool, watching the numbers go higher, but then I wasn't playing a game.
Is Mobius Final Fantasy still, as you put it, the worst thing you've ever played?
It's up there. It's one of the worst things I've ever played. It's very cheap. You can feel how cheap it is.
But again, it's here's the thing. Final Fantasy X-2, Mobius Final Fantasy, these are two games that have played an important role in keeping Square Enix financially solvent during a very dark period in their corporate history.
I'm not really interested in judging these two pieces of art by their ability to keep a company solvent. Like, the quality is irrespective of the ability of these games to bilk people of their hard-earned money.
And I think
10 is of a higher quality.
I would even
10-2.
Yeah, I would argue also 10-2 has a story.
Yeah, it has a story. It has gameplay.
And
like, the gameplay has flaws.
Would you say you didn't play that much of Mobius Final Fantasy, but it gets really snarky and sarcastic at you in a way that I did not appreciate. Like, that fairy is just talking mess with your protagonist, and your protagonist keeps burying her, where it's kind of like this abusive and sarcastic relationship. I wouldn't say that sarcasm defines any part of Final Fantasy X-2's story.
Yeah, I think snarky and cold and jaded and cynical is the opposite of what the Final Fantasy games are at their core. Like, their core ethos is genuine.
But then again, in
Final Fantasy,
in Mobius Final Fantasy, I was able to dress up my character as a red mage, and he wore, like, skin tight, like, pants, and he was, like, ripped with his, like, over jacket, and he wore a scarf over his face. And then the Moogle,
is this in the pro column or the?
This is a pro, and then.
Okay.
We haven't talked about the story, but, like, there's a plot twist in Chapter 5 where you find out that the person that you've been chasing after as a villain is actually a good guy, and then all of the people that you've been working with are bad guys.
Oh, no.
And then the Moogle dies for your sin.
I heard about that, but you're telling me things that are in Mobius that doesn't really answer the question of, is Mobius... Do you, in your heart of hearts, think Mobius is better than 10-2?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, then. 10-2 is the second worst Final Fantasy game of all time.
I don't think anything will ever dethrone Mobius.
Not until we get to 2.
Brave Exodus might actually do that if we ever do that. Oh, hey, Gino, I know I mentioned this on Steam Chat, but there's going to be a Final Fantasy X expansion pack to Mobius that explains what Titus was doing in the far plane. Apparently,
don't care.
The main character from Mobius is going to guide him through the far plane and allow him to reconnect with Yuna at the end of 10-2.
Fuck. You've taken the worst part of Final Fantasy X, one of the worst parts of Final Fantasy X-2, and you've added it to Mobius. Mobius is now partially culpable for the terribleness.
All right.
It is complicit.
All right, so we've determined our ranking. So, ladies and gentlemen, next time we'll see you, we're going to do a podcast about the last mission. We're also going to talk about the Eternal Calm. We're going to record a podcast also discussing the pros and cons of Final Fantasy X, X-2, Will. So next time, Gino, we're going to just talk about these 3 added pieces of content to the HD remaster.
No, we are not going to touch any. You can do that to yourself. I'm not going to play any of the extended universe Final Fantasy X.
Gino, come on.
I tried. It was bad.
Come on, man.
It was really bad. It was like extended universe Star Wars stuff. Gino,
it sets the canon, and like it's these pieces of content are the reason why people think that there's hope for Final Fantasy X-3.
I don't want there to be a Final Fantasy X-3. I don't want there to be a 2.
I want you to seriously consider it.
I'll seriously consider it. But let's talk about what the next Final Fantasy game we'll play is.
All right. So, you count to 3 and you give me the Final Fantasy game. Actually, let's stop. Let's think for a little bit, and then we'll count to 3 what game you and I think we should play next. Which, just put it out there, ladies and gentlemen, we're probably going to take a break, so there will be no Final Fantasy during December. We will probably not record anything during January, maybe February, this podcast. That's usually what happens, is we take a 2-month break.
That generally.
And then usually we even take a 3-month break, because around February you have to prepare for the community endurance run.
Yeah. So I have an idea.
Okay. So like I said, you're going to think of a Final Fantasy number, and then I'm going to think of it, and then on the count of 3, you and I are going to say our Final Fantasy games, okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
For the community endurance run, we have not actually interacted for that.
Okay.
You've usually done your thing, I've done my thing. However, people seem to like when we stream Final Fantasy games together as a duo.
Yes.
For whatever reason. And April would be right around time for us to play a game.
Okay.
Might be a little late. Maybe we could play a shorter one in between or something. But when the community endurance run rolls around, maybe we could start a game there.
Okay.
I'll let that percolate. So, but I think we could play a shorter one before then. So that's an idea I've been.
Yeah, we can play a shorter one. We're gonna play Final Fantasy X-2, the last mission, and then we're gonna watch the Eternal Calm, and then jump right into the audiobook.
I uninstalled all the Final Fantasy X stuff from all my things, but I can reinstall.
So I can talk to a wall while I talk about how Final Fantasy Will is one of the biggest pieces of shit I have ever seen in my entire life.
I just like the idea. You should try to do my voice. Just, all right, hey Gino, what do you think? Well, I don't know. That was Final Fantasy is a good series. Thanks, Gino.
All right. So you got your number, right? I got my number. So count to 3.
1, 2, 3.
13.
1. Okay. We went the opposite directions here. So here's what I was thinking. So here was my rationale. For a shorter game between now and the community endurance run, Final Fantasy 1, I believe, is the shortest of the Final Fantasies. So that would allow us to complete it before April. But in April, I think we should do 13 together, because I've never finished 13. Because I've never finished 13. We could both hate it in real time. Or love it. I don't know. I like to be surprised.
Oh, man, Gino. That's the most evil thing. That is literally the most evil thing you've ever said to me.
What?
All right, so here's... fuck. Man. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Good idea.
I've never finished 13.
Everyone I've talked to has never finished 13.
Yeah.
I don't think even during the
bad.
community endurance run we'd be able to finish it too.
No, but we could get pretty far into it.
Fuck. Is this going to kind of be like when I did the first community endurance one with 7? It's like, I barely got 3 of disc 1. Fantastic.
Probably. Fly
Okay,
out.
So,
get this on.
Will your plan avoid me doing my kind of like Paine stream from last year?
Yes, because I would have to be involved directly. Because I won't do that to myself.
Man, because my idea for the community endurance one was the Wheel of Pain, and I would let people pick what goes on the Wheel of Pain.
Well, we could still do. I don't plan on this being the whole thing. Usually Friday night, I am doing some sort of game showy thing that is a little bit more feature-esque instead of just playing through a single game.
When you think about it, we've literally, here's the big problem is like, other than we've slayed all of the big dragons.
Not 6.
6 is probably the only other one.
And 4.
I feel like the cult of 4 has waned significantly over time. But 6 is it, but the last big dragon for you and me to slay is the 13 franchise.
And 12. Some people like 12.
Yeah, but like it's not on PC, and I don't want to fucking buy a PlayStation. Oh man. All right.
I have one.
All right.
But I think one is short, one is simple.
Fuck. Okay.
That's a deviously good idea.
That is a great idea. Oh man. Okay, Gino. Can we play? Can I pick a game for you? Can we play something?
Yeah,
Can I pick something for us to play? Fucking let me. Is there any
pick something?
Is Myst available? Is there anything with?
We played Myst.
No. But like, are any of the other Myst games on fucking Steam?
No, just Myst and Riven.
Damn it.
And 3D Myst.
Fuck. Damn it.
Pajama Sam's still there.
You don't, and you only like Steam. You're not a big fan of GOG, right?
I mostly stick to Steam, but if I need to acquire another game, I can.
Fuck. All right. Let's do it.
The nice thing about Final Fantasy 1, you can do it on your phone.
Okay, you win.
Yeah, listeners.
I can't believe I'm gonna do. Damn it!
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Or is this?
Yeah, I just. Fuck. This is gonna be.
One is short.
One is short. Really, you
I mean,
always
it's
say
shorter.
that, and then I end up spending hours of my life on.
So what I would say is use a guide the whole time for 1, because 1 is old. It doesn't have a lot of the niceties. Like if you thought, hey, I need to talk to brother, oh crap, that's a stupid design decision. Like 1 is way worse about all that kind of stuff because it was the first one of these things. Like there's a bunch of things that if you didn't talk to the right NPC the right number of times or at the right time, you just don't know where to go or what to do. So use a guide because it's old.
Man.
Like,
all right.
you keep saying man in a way that makes me think you don't want to do this. You don't have to do this. We can just do 13.
Okay, we're going to do this. Okay, fine. Yeah.
So what game would you like me to play?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay, pick something. We can tweet it out or something.
Sure.
So, thank you to our listeners. So, I guess we have to send off Final Fantasy X-2 properly.
Oh, fuck.
Don't we?
Are we going to sing?
I mean, do you feel... Are you in the spirits?
Fine. But which song would we sing? There's like 3.
I mean, 1,000 words is, as far as I'm concerned, the only song in this game.
God.
You tell me. I mean,
we could do Real Emotion.
we could, but that song's terrible. That song is terrible.
Yeah. All right, I think I'm on the Final Fantasy Wikia, looking at the English translation for 1,000 words.
So am I. Does it start with, "Are those words of yours"?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if I can remember how the melody goes.
There's a little thing that you can play right above.
There is, but if I play
but
I'll
it's
hear.
also in Japanese. I'm just going to put that out
Great.
there. So,
Great.
Man. What started... Wait, how are we going to read the entire thing? Oh, God. I just went down and there's like the English version or the translated version of the Romanji.
There's multiple
Oh, God.
English versions. Where's just the chorus? I just want the chorus.
I think the chorus is... Okay. The chorus is... Go to where it says English versions. Okay.
Yeah.
So international version in quotation Jade. Or in brackets. I think it's the italics.
No, I think it's the non-italics.
No, okay.
Because 1,000 words. That I think it starts with that.
Let's just think.
Because the other part are like sing talk.
Let's start where it says "'cause 1,000 words."
Okay.
Are you ready?
And okay, should we video up? So
Fuck me. Why do?
No, thank you. Why did we do this? You were the one who suggested that we sing that terrible song from 8?
Well, that was a part of a donation
Eyes on
incentive.
Me. Yeah, we sang Eyes on Me, and that was a mistake. And now people have expectations of us.
Singing these fucking songs.
Yes.
All right.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
'Cause 1,000 words call out through the ages. They'll fly to you. Even though I
can't see, I know they're reaching you. Suspended on silver wings.
Oh, 1,000 words. 1,000 embraces will cradle you, making all
of your weary days seem far away. They'll hold you forever. Oh, 1,000 words have never been spoken. They'll fly to you.
They'll
carry you home. And back into my arms. Suspended on silver wings. And 1,000 words.
Oh.
Call out through the ages. They'll cradle you, turning all of lonely years to only days. They'll hold you forever. All right, we did it.
1,000 words.
So if people in the comments, we're sorry.
If you have a better
All the people
idea
who are listening.
about what we should do for the future of this podcast or the Final Fantasy plans, feel free to send them in. If your horrible idea is better than Gino's, we are open-minded to whatever you have.
We are indeed. And also, worth mentioning, Final Fantasy 1 has no songs. We were in a songless space for a while. So thank you, listeners. Thank you for coming with us on the Paine train. Thank you, ZP.
Thank you, Gino.
Remember, if you want to get in touch with the show, at DeepListensPod or at ThatPinguino on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We've got our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone. Till next time, peace.